Welcome back to Bicycle's Point of View video vlog. What am I doing here? Track standing. So, this video is going to be about fixed gear bikes, what my honest opinion is about them, and specifically sort of a review on this Masi Uno that I bought about 4 months ago. So I've been riding fixed gear now for about 4 months, and I've had a major improvement just in my cycling fitness. If you're looking for a bike that will train you to go up hills, that will train you to have a fast cadence, look no further than a fixed gear bike. And bike is really great because they're some of the most affordable bikes you can buy. I mean, this Masi cost me 400 bucks, which is less than what an entry-level road bike costs, and they're very fun. So I've had this one for 4 months now. Just replaced the tires. These are brand new because I was learning how to skid, how to stop by backpedaling, and so I already went through my first tire in the back, so I went ahead and decided to replace both tires. Although right now I'm relying more on my brakes than on backpedaling to stop, just because that way I can save my tires and they don't wear out as fast. But anyway, we're going to take a ride today on this Fixie and show you guys sort of what I do on one of my training rides, and show you that it's very possible to ride a Fixie, climb hills, descend, and basically do anything you would do normally on a regular bike. So what this bike does is it's not quite as fast as my gear bike. However, it does train my legs to get stronger, so when I do get back on my gear bike, I'm usually averaging a lot faster than I would have if I hadn't been training on my fixed gear bike. So let's take it for a spin, and we'll see what the results are. So here I am, riding down this road. Right now I'm sort of going downhill, picking up my cadence. On a fixed gear bike you can't coast, so if you're going down a steep hill, you just have to keep going. One of the ways that I get around having my feet come off the pedals is clipless pedals. They really help a lot, especially on a fixed gear bike, just to keep your feet locked in and keep your legs moving. I seldom just let the bike move my legs, because what will happen is if you try to do that, there's a good chance that the bike could just bounce you up and down the seat, because it's no fluid movement. You're sort of like dead weight on the bike. So I just kind of crested that little roller there. About to go down another hill. This one's really fun going up. I seldom do it. It's a good 5% all the way. Right here I've hit about 40 miles an hour. Not on the fixed gear. I've done about 30 on the fixed gear, but 40 on a regular bike. We see this guy here. He looks kind of like he's out riding too, maybe commuting. And again, I'm not racing him. He just happens to be another guy who decided to go ride on this sunny day. But he's turning a huge gear there, especially going up that hill. His cadence just isn't there the way it should be. So I was able to just pass him and keep going. You know, keeping cadence, I would guess I would presume about 80 revolutions a minute, maybe 60 to 80. Not very high, but again, this is 46/16 gearing, so
Well, yeah, so I was able to go through those rollers pretty nicely. Let's see what else I can climb here. Here's a popular segment on Strava called the Bronco Climb. A lot of the club riders do it a lot. I'm ranked about 20 out of 980 attempts so far. And I got my best time actually on this bike, this fixed gear bike. And it's not a really long climb, but it's very punchy. It's about 8% at its most inclined uh, vertical incline. Average is about 3% all in all. So it's not a very steep climb. However, just the way it's laid out, it's not always easy to ride, but especially if you have a lot of headwind coming up from the south towards the north. But on this ride, I actually got my third best time on it. I averaged 20 miles an hour going up the climb, and my best time was 23 miles an hour on the same bike. And that's a time I couldn't have, I haven't improved on my gear bikes yet. So we're about to approach the climb right here. It starts just after the Skull Zone marker. And here we go. You see, I'm not dropping my cadence. I can push through that climb. I can't slow down. I can't stall. Because if I do that, then I'm gonna lose power, and I'll be crawling up the very top of it. The top part is the steepest part, so I just want to carry as much momentum as I can up that hill and try to make the slide that's at the very top. And I just barely made it there. And so I crested that little hill there. And I just took a breather because I was already out of breath after that punchy climb. And this is why I ride a fixed gear. It especially comes in handy when doing these hill intervals. Just focuses the training more on the climb, focuses it more on pedaling efficiency and good technique. And there's a direct connection to the road. And I know that kind of gets thrown around a lot, but I really do feel it. I really do feel it when I ride the bike. I feel that basically there's nothing else but me pushing me forward. That I'm not being helped out by a lower gear or anything like that. So here I try to track stand a little bit. Alright then, moving on. Here's another popular climb in my area. This one's known as the Short Salina Hills of Death Part 2. Part 1 is even harder, and yes, I've also done it on my fixed geared bike. But just for the purposes of showing you how to climb on a Fixie in this video, I skipped that section. I only really did a 20-mile ride. And so I did the latter half of that segment. It's basically two segments, but it's all the same climb. It's just divided into two. So there's Salina Short Hills of Death and Salina Short Hills of Death Part 2. and here I am doing part 2 of the Salina Short Hills of Death. Basically, these are 3 punchy hills. They just kind of come out of nowhere. All 8 to 11% grade. On a Fixie, it's pretty hard to do. I mean, especially as you come down the end of this one, you have to really hold momentum to get over the next one. And I managed to do it on this video, but it just depends. I mean, how the wind is blowing. Sometimes in Texas you can have really strong winds, really strong headwinds, so you can be going up a hill or into a hill with no momentum at all. But I think at this point I was still doing about 15 miles an hour, and right about where I crested the top of the hill I was going at about 13 miles an hour. But I was still trying to here just hold the pace. Again, let me remind those who are watching, this is on a fixed gear bike. I'm not changing gears. And yes, that up ahead is the next hill. And this one we come up it with a little less momentum than the last one. You see me starting to rock my body a little bit. Just try and get as much leverage as I can to get up and over that hill. We're still cresting it. We haven't reached the top yet. Right about here is where it starts to flatten out just a little bit. And from there it's a little divot where you can catch some speed. So there's guys that do this segment, they do like 22, 23 miles an hour total for this segment. But that's only because this segment includes this long flat part here. And if it weren't for this nice little downhill you get after that little climb, a lot of guys would probably they'd be hanging around the 13 to 15 mile an hour average for those 3 hills. They're just that hard. And you wouldn't think there's any hills in Texas, but there are. Towards Oklahoma it gets hilly, and towards Austin it gets hilly, and towards Big Bend it's just mountainous. So we do have our places to climb. Maybe my area it's not constant climbing, but we do have our little hills and elevation changes. It's very easy to get 1,300 feet of elevation in a 40-mile ride out where I live. So here's me taking a little water swig. So we've covered climbing. Let's talk about descending. How does this bike descend? Here's a nice little descent that I have on my route. That's kind of coming out of the country back into the city. Here I'm doing about 24 miles an hour. We're gonna get to pretty soon. Here's a truck that was behind me, past me. 2 other cars that are probably frustrated. So on this descent we're doing 24 to 26 miles an hour. Right here I was doing about 24 miles an hour. So we're gonna get to the um, bottom of the descent pretty soon here. We're still sort of where it's flat, but we're starting to angle down just a little bit, maybe 1 or 2% of gradient. I'm still holding right about this time. I'm doing about 25 miles an hour. My cadence is probably about 110. Just really taking out my legs and spinning. So I put my hands on my brakes because the bike can get pretty unstable going down a hill, especially at speeds of about 30 miles an hour. Here I'm doing about 27 though. I'm doing about 27 miles an hour. And here we are going towards the bottom of the hill. Again, the Fixie sort of acts as a governor. You might be able to go faster, but the bike itself won't let you because you're kind of controlled by the movement of the pedals. So that's the end of that descent.
Just wanted to give you guys a heads up about what I used to train in the wintertime, or as of this year, what I've decided to use. And as far as the fitness that I'm gaining on the fixed gear, um, I would have to say my climbing has improved a little bit since I've been using it, and because I have to backpedal to stop, um, I don't necessarily skid because I have brakes, but I do backpedal to slow down and stop. So that works out the hamstrings, and I've noticed that when I'm on my regular bike, I've got that extra um, muscle development there to pull on my pedals rather than just push down. I can also pull up on my pedals, especially when I'm going up a hill, which really helps out a lot. So this has been my experience with my fixed gear bike.